the ground in Shoshaguve in the south of Pretoria. And now she'll be talking to UNICEF and looking at families and how we can protect our own. Good morning, Lebo.
Thank you. A very good morning to you once again. Thank you so much there to Sam Marshall. Of course, we can't be talking Child Protection Week without having a conversation to the United Nations Children's Fund. They're an essential part of this conversation about children, what they want, how do we protect them, and to talk to us about the work of UNICEF South Africa. Chief of Child Protection, Patrizia Benventui, is here to tell us more about the work that they do, the progress that we've made so far. Patrizia, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Good morning.
Talk to us about UNICEF South Africa's child protection programs and what has been their positive impact.
The Child Protection Program of UNICEF South Africa works in very close collaboration with the government. The purpose of the program is really to make sure that the government puts systems in place which can effectively prevent, early detect, as we say in technical language, and respond to violence against women and children. We have a very strong collaboration with the Department of Social Development that in this week is leading Child Protection Week, but we work also with other government departments like the Department of Basic Education, Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. We work also very closely with the national prosecuting authorities and of course also with the Department of Health. What is important to underline is that the child protection, although needs a focal department, a focal ministry, and in this case is the Department of Social Development, child protection is a very broad issue that really requires the collaboration from all different government departments.
How does South Africa fare in terms of, child abuse and negligence? How do we fare in the world?
Unfortunately, the news are not very positive in this sense. South Africa is known for having extremely high levels of violent crime in general and violence against the women and children in particular. Violence against children in South Africa has reached what we say in UNICEF epidemic proportion. We're really facing a social crisis. Every year, SABC, the South Africa Police Service, records approximately 45,000 cases of contact crimes committed against the children. So on an average in South Africa, every day, 123 children are victimized, meaning are victims of violent crime. Of all these violent crimes that I mentioned, the 40,000 and something, approximately half are sexual offenses. So we are particularly concerned about the very high level of sexual violence existing against the children, both girls and boys.
Talk to us about the National Risk Assessment Toolkit. What is this toolkit?
It's a toolkit that UNICEF has developed in close collaboration with the Department of Social Development, and the key purpose of the toolkit is to identify the vulnerabilities, to identify which kind of protection risk exists in a family, because it's important that we don't look at the child in isolation from where the child is living. So it's important to take into consideration the family as well as the community. So this is a tool that aims at identifying protection risks and as a consequence trying to put in place a response plan to make sure that those vulnerabilities, those risks are addressed.
Talk to us about, a father's presence in a child's life. How long does that go in, bringing up a complete child?
It's a very beautiful question, and I think it's important to speak about the importance of fathers and the critical role that fathers play in making sure that children grow up in what we call a protective environment. It's an immense gift for a child to have a father who is different ways is present in his or her life, because this will have a positive, long-lasting effect on the child and will really help in making sure that the child develops, as we say, integrally.
Talk to us about, the extensive research that done by UNICEF about how exposure to physical, sexual, emotional, or economic violence has profound and lasting effects on children's development. How can we rectify this?
It is a huge challenge. Lots of research carried out both in South Africa but also at global level have proved that children who are regularly exposed to different forms of violence, not only physical and sexual, but also recurrent forms of emotional violence, have struggled in developing. They develop, also a lot of psychological challenges like fear, different kinds of fears, anxiety, depression, eating disorders, different kinds of phobias that will challenge, in a way, their integral development.
Well, how would you like us to change the situation? What is your message as we close off Child Protection Week?
There are many messages. I think the slogan of this year's Child Protection Week is very, very important and very relevant. The slogan is work together to protect the children. So what I would like to underline is that although the government of South Africa has an essential responsibility in making sure that the protective environment for children is put in place and is functional, families, duty bearers, caregivers, teachers, community members, adults, siblings, everyone, each of us has a role to play in making sure that children are safe. So once again, despite the government of South Africa is responsible, it is important to make sure that every person understands the responsibility that he or she needs to play to ensure the well-being of children and make sure that children are protected from all forms of violence and abuse.
All right, Patricia, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
All right, Patricia is UNICEF South Africa's Chief of Child Protection, talking to us about the work being done by UNICEF. What are they doing? What are some of the challenges facing the organization? How do we protect our own children from neglect, from abuse? What are some of the lessons that have come out of events such as Child Protection Week? Let's take an air break. After this, we'll speak to a couple of young